Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here again. Today we're going to be covering some rare and expensive NES games. We've got 10 of them. This is going to be part one of a two-part series, so I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get right into it.
Cheetahmen II is an unreleased game by Active Enterprises, made for the NES in 1992 and intended to be the sequel to Cheetahmen from Action 52. The game was planned to be released in 1992 but was never officially released. A warehouse containing 1,500 copies was discovered in the late 90s, and the game was sold on secondary markets. The story is that Dr. Morbus is back with a new subhuman. He wants to stop the Cheetahmen from ruining his evil plans, so he creates the Ape-Man, the strongest subhuman yet. As Ares, Apollo, and Hercules, you must help the Cheetahmen fight Dr. Morbus and his team of evil mutants. The gameplay is pretty basic. You have a jump and a shoot button, and you can shoot while you're in the air. There are ground enemies such as dogs and snakes, and air enemies such as birds. At first, it is hard to maneuver around these enemies. You have to play it over and over again in order to memorize the patterns of them coming at you. Music is really basic as well, but I actually kind of like the music. It oddly enough fit the game. I honestly didn't get very far, and I kept dying. But just from the little bit that I played, I got a good feel from the game. Overall, this game is pretty bad, and I know I won't be playing it again after this review, but it is a rare game to find, and it's very valuable to any collector anywhere. Bonk's Adventure is a 2D platform game developed by Red Company and Atlas that was released in 1989 in Japan and 1990 in North America for the TurboGrafx 16 and was later ported to the NES. You play as Bonk, a strong and bald cowboy who battles anthropomorphic dinosaurs and other prehistoric enemies. Bonk uses his head to defeat enemies. He can headbutt them or flip upside down and defeat them with the top of his head. He can also eat some peppers or eat some meat and be invincible for a short period of time. The controls are pretty simple. Left and right to move, left and right, B to jump, and A to use your head. The music isn't bad, certainly not annoying. I really like the sound that was made when you transition from a Bonk to, I guess, Crazy Bonk? I thought this game was very fun and charming. I like the whole premise of it, and I'll probably be seeing this one again in the future for sure. DuckTales 2 is a platform game for the NES developed and published by Capcom. It's a sequel to the original DuckTales based on the Disney animated series of the same name. The game was released relatively late in the console's life, so the NES version is considered rare among gaming collectors. The story in the game is that the nephew's great-uncle left pieces of a treasure map all over the world, and now they're setting out on an adventure to find it. The gameplay is like any other typical platformer, except that Scrooge can use his cane to defeat enemies. He can also get to higher places that he wouldn't normally be able to get to, or he can knock things off of ledges such as this raft. The controls in this game are a little more difficult, but not too hard. Definitely doesn't take away from the gameplay. I enjoyed the music in the game, especially this little tune. Other than that, the level music is nice, not overpowering or annoying, and it fits with the gameplay perfectly. This is a great game, and everyone should own a copy if they can afford it, or if you find someone that doesn't know what they have. You won't be disappointed. Fire and Ice is a puzzle game released by Tecmo. In the game, you play as Dana, a novice wizard given the power of ice in order to distinguish all the fires that the evil wizard, probably going to say this wrong, Druidle, has placed all over the land. You extinguish the fire by using blocks of ice within the level. You can either kick the ice into the fire or make it fall from above. The goal is to figure out the best way to put out all the fires in the level. You don't jump in the game, but you can climb up ledges and blocks of ice. Then you can make more ice blocks if you need to in order to put out the fire. The music in the game is quite catchy and I rather enjoyed it. Overall, I think the game is really fun and it can be challenging at times. I like a good puzzle game, and I think this one is a good one to add to your collection if you don't already have it. The Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak is a platform game for the NES, created and was published by the Taito Corporation in 1993. The story is that Pebbles and Bam Bam are trapped behind this lava waterfall. Gazoo tells Fred and Barney that in order to save their kids, they're gonna have to go talk to the fire dinosaur. They accept the challenge and off they go. Before you find that out though, you're treated to an introductory level whenever you're looking for Pebbles and Bam Bam. This helps you learn the controls and what each character can do. After that, each level is on an overworld map, like in Super Mario Bros. 3. In this game, the player can switch playable characters between both Fred and Barney, and they both have different attacks and abilities. Fred carries a club and hits enemies with it. He can also collect power-ups like these tomahawks, and can charge up his swing for a more powerful slam. He can also grab onto ledges and pull himself up. Barney carries a slingshot, so he's better when you want to kill an enemy from a long distance. He can also grab onto ropes and shimmy his way across them, or pull himself up. The controls in the game are just okay. I found myself falling off the ropes as Barney a lot until I realized you have to hold the jump button, then press up to climb up. After that I was good. I think this is a fun game and I'll revisit it in the future. I played the other Flintstones game for the NES and it was good as well, so I'm not surprised that this one is. Little Samson is a 1992 action platformer developed by Takeru and published by the Taito Corporation for the NES. In this game, a dark prince is freed from his seal by a thunderstorm and begins to try to take over the world. The kingdom is in trouble and the king orders Little Samson and 3 others to fight for him. You start by playing 4 different introductory levels with 4 different characters. You have Little Samson, who is a little guy with a headband on that can throw rocks at his enemies and climb up walls and hang from ceilings. A dragon that can fly and shoot fireballs from his mouth. A giant rock guy that can punch in all directions. He is stronger than the other characters. He only has to hit an enemy once to kill him, and his life bar lasts longer. Then you have a little mouse character that is quicker but also weaker. He can drop little bombs next to an enemy, and like Samson, can scale walls and ceilings. After the introductory levels, you start working your way through the world with the ability to change characters on the fly. I very much enjoy the music in this game. Each character has their own theme and it switches to it when you select a different character, which is pretty neat. And no one does that in games anymore. As far as controls go, you have a jump button and an attack button, but depending on which character you are, is what determines what you attack with. Overall, I thought the game was really fun and challenging. I will definitely be playing this one again. Panik Restaurant is a 1992 platform game developed by EIM and published by Taito for the NES. The game stars a chef who must navigate through his own restaurant, which has been cursed by a rival chef named Oda. In the game, you attack with B and jump with A. You start off with a frying pan as your weapon, but later you get a spoon. I would think that the frying pan is the better of the two, but they seem to do the same damage, so who cares? Your enemies are different types of foods such as carrots, pizzas, onions, and even apples. I thought they were supposed to be good for you. I didn't like that you only started with 2 hits and then you're dead, but you can upgrade your hearts by picking up things like candy, but it just seems to take a while. Overall, I thought this game was kind of quirky, which I think adds a lot to it. It's a short game, so maybe I'll come back and beat it one day. Pro Sport Hockey, known in Japan as USA Ice Hockey, is a Nintendo licensed ice hockey video game that was released for the NES and SNES in 1993. You have 4 modes to choose from. I chose Exhibition for this review. You also have 8 teams to choose from as well. The gameplay is pretty simple. On offense, you can pass with B and shoot with A. On defense, both buttons serve the same purpose, which is to move your stick back and forth in order to knock down your opponent and get the puck. The music wasn't bad. The only time I experienced any was at the title screen, in between periods, and when the game was over. I lost. Big time. I'm not really into sports games, but this one wasn't bad for an NES hockey title. I could see myself having some fun playing against a friend rather than a computer. Snow Brothers is a platform game that was released in 1990. You take command of either Nick or Tom, who used to be a human prince until King Scorch turned you into snowmen, so as not to thwart his evil plan. You throw snow at your enemies until they're completely covered, and then you either roll them to their death, or use them to kill other enemies and then they die. You can't let an enemy touch you once though, or you'll die. I will say that I beat the first boss and then it just got boring to me. It's a little too repetitive for my blood. The music isn't that great. It's actually kind of annoying. I found myself tuning it out shortly after I started playing. Though this wasn't really a bad game, I don't think I'll be playing it again just because of the fact that it was getting a little too repetitive for me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters is a fighting game produced by Konami for the NES. This is the first fighting game I've played with the Turtles, and it wasn't so bad. I'm partial to the side-scrolling beat-em-up Turtles games, but I like that they branched out with the characters. The controls aren't too complicated if you do basic moves like jumping, kicking, and punching, but playing against a computer made me realize that there is more to this game than just that. Somehow you can block, and look at this biting thing that Raphael does to me. I did manage to throw my opponent a few times. I don't know exactly how I did it, but I do know that it involves pressing buttons on the controller. The music in the game sounded like any other generic Turtles gameplay music. It wasn't anything special, but it wasn't so bad either. Overall, the game was pretty fun, and it would have been more fun if I had another player with me or if I knew all the controls. But I guess I just need to keep playing it to figure it out, huh?
Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this is part 1 of a 2-part series, so hopefully you guys stay tuned and we'll see you next time.